His House is a brand new 2020 Netflix original horror film that sees a couple that comes from a war torn South Sudan, and they are refugees. And they are placed in this home, and they are told basically like, hey, you can't do shit. You gotta stay in this house, and if you don't abide by all the rules, we'll send your ass right back to death. Like, we take you right back to Sudan. You can die there, or you can live by our rules. You gotta stay in this house, this and that. Now, we have had films in the past that play around with the idea of, well, why don't they just leave the house if it's haunted? Why aren't they just leaving if they keep having things happening to them in there? And those films would be like 100 Feet with Famke Jensen, where she is on house arrest and she can't leave. Otherwise, she'll go to prison. And she's haunted by the spirit of her dead ex abusive husband, who she killed, and now she's stuck in that house with him. Then you've also got I can't. I'm forgetting what this movie's called off the top of my head, but there's a girl who has like crippling anxiety disorder, agoraphobia or agoraphobia, however you want to say it, and she cannot leave the house. Someone breaks into her house, and she tries to keep going outside, but as soon as she does, she just is like so riddled with anxiety she can't even move, so she has to like make her way back into the house. Or and I could go on about stuff like Burning Bright, where there's a fucking hurricane outside, or whatever. But with this one, it's because they will literally be sent back to where they will die. So it's like, well, I mean, at least here we have a home, and maybe we can make it through this. So now, coming from South Sudan and this war zone, they have dealt with some serious shit. And throughout this movie, we delve a little deeper and a little deeper as the story progresses, and we get flashbacks, and we get to know more about this couple and what has happened to them in the past. And there's some revelations that come to pass that you're like, oh shit, like, oh wow, that whole adds a whole new layer to this. And I think the performances here from the couple are great. I think that the setup to the horror and the execution of the horror in this is really good at times, or I should say most of the time. Um, Overall, I thought this is a pretty damn good movie. I could see people finding it to be maybe um, derivative, maybe, but I was so engaged emotionally in all of the backstory and what they're going through and what all that kind of means, because this is one I personally feel is more of a you know of a film that you have to kind of dissect and break down symbolisms and metaphors and whatnot. Now that might be pretentious for some, but I think that this journey kind of culminates to a message, and and this journey that they go on, and where it all ends up and how it all plays out. I just feel like it has a message to it, and what they're dealing with is so hard and so horrendous. And I don't know. I really think that it speaks to any time. This is kind of one of those timeless movies. There's always countries that are dealing with these kinds of struggles, and dealing with genocides, and just civil wars, and murder in the streets, and what that does to people, and what decisions they have to make to stay alive, and the things that they will do, and the guilt that follows them because of it. It's so much on the mind that almost this is one of those films like The Descent, where the actual real life horror is so much that the horror stuff is almost not even necessary, that you would almost just feel like it's a horror movie anyways, just having to deal with what they're dealing with. But yeah, as I said, it's more about like guilt, and it's more about reflection, and such. But the horror is there, and I thought that was well done. It's very well acted. I think this is a pretty damn good movie, and I look forward to seeing what everyone's thoughts are on this one. I haven't really looked into it too much, but I do think it's doing pretty well with the critics, which is not surprising to me because of everything I said. It's kind of it's a film that appeals to critics, I suppose. There's a little bit more depth to it. It's not just scene after scene of gags and setups for like shallow scares. That's not what this film is. This film has depth to it. It's good performances. Matt Smith from Doctor Who is in here. Not much, but he's the familiar face that I recognized. But I can't really say much on him because he plays such a small role in the film. But I don't know anyone else, so I thought I'd mention him. But yeah, I mean, they're also dealing with the fact that this is not their home, and that there's people out there that may not be accepting of them being there. I'm sure as United States citizens, as myself, we can understand this. But anyway, I'm not going to get too into that. But I think you know what I'm getting at. But yeah, this resonated with me. This worked pretty damn well, and I thought it was pretty effective. So if that sounds like a thing, watch it. Let me know. Adios.